Hi friends, I'm Gio, and welcome to my channel. I appreciate you stopping by. Today we are in Milwaukee. Let's go ahead and get started. Chapter 1. The alarm ran on and on. I stared at the beige ceiling, tracing random patterns along its stucco bumps. Another 6 a.m. in paradise. Except this wasn't paradise. It was Monday, March 29th, in Milwaukee. My Facebook bio? Hugh Smith, 28, gay, chronically single, professional drone at Universal Shipping, amateur daydreamer, looking for someone who knows how to load a dishwasher, no boyfriend in sight, prescription eyeglasses required. The positive comments? Frumpy, dumpy, and my personal favorite, he has a nice spirit. The negative ones? Loser, boring. Is this some guy cosplaying as an accountant? No way this is real. Not a bull, but a cow, and a sick one at that. I live in the Brookhaven Apartments, 3rd floor, West Dallas. That's west of West Milwaukee, which is west of Milwaukee. Basically, the suburbs of the suburbs. No one has ever swiped right on my dating profile. My roommate, Randall, was a pig with a theology degree. He sold phones to afford his gaming addiction. When not at work, he spent his days playing Stellar Drift, buying useless crap and reselling it at a markup, and going out drinking with his friends. We weren't friends. I placed an ad on roomies.com. He was the only person who answered. At least he paid half his rent, half the utilities, and bought his own groceries. I silenced my phone and glanced at my wallpaper. Mykonos at dawn, the city rising from a crescent bay the color of turquoise, the sand the color of ripe peaches, and the sky, they hadn't invented a name for that color. Kind of mauve, kind of gold, kind of magic. I placed my bare feet on the faux wood floor, wincing. Cold, like every Wisconsin morning. Someday, I'd have a boyfriend, and we'd go there, soak in the sun, the sights, feed each other chicken souvlaki, gently wiping the juices away. Randall was already up, gray boxers and a stain-white tank, his usual uniform, making coffee in a black mug. The side said, "I love the smell of caffeine in the morning." Ironic. He preferred his brew weaker than I liked mine, so he added only half the usual amount of grounds. When he finished with the coffee maker, I set it up the way I liked it. He ate peanut butter toast with chocolate chips sprinkled on top. Always, every day. His breakfast of champions. The dishes from yesterday, and the day before, and the day before that, were piled in the stainless steel sink. It stunk of damp, maybe even moldy water. I almost said, "We have a dishwasher," but stopped myself. No use complaining. He'd ignore me again. I reminded myself he paid rent on time and always covered his half of the utilities. Could have had a worse roommate. I'd load the dishwasher after work, again, for the 17th time. I pulled a gray hoodie over my gray slacks, white shirt, and boring black tie. No use dressing nice. It was only work. I work as a drone inside Universal Shipping, delivery coordinator, fancy term for data entry. I type all day and never see the light of day until closing. Alone in my gray cubicle, unless there is a client meeting. Then we meet in the gray conference room. Phones are required to be silenced during work hours. Company policy. No problem. After work, I checked my phone. Dad had left a text. "Heads up, keep Saturday night free. Cousin's engagement party. Bring a +1. I responded with the thumbs up emoji and Under the gray clouds, I headed to a bar to get something to drink. Alone. That's my day. Every day. Plain, gray, boring. Nothing worth emailing home about. No sign of love. No sign of Mykonos. No sign of any change. Chapter 2. The pounding on my door woke me. "Knock it off," I yelled. Randall shouted back, "It's 7:15 already. You sick or something?" Panic flooded every neuron in my head. I lunged for my phone. The time flipped from 7:15 to 7:16 as I watched. "I got extra coffee," he yelled. "Sure," I mumbled, diving into the clump of yesterday's wrinkled white shirt and nondescript slacks. The floor was cold. It's always cold in Wisconsin. Minutes later, after slurping the watery caffeine, I hopped out of the apartment, adjusting my shoes, my lifeless tie still undone. This can't be happening. I sprinted to the bus stop, lungs wheezing. I'm out of shape. The bus pulled away about 200 feet before I got there. I sat at the stop and glared at my phone. Stupid, betraying piece of crap. What happened to the alarm? According to it, the alarm had gone off at 6, just like always. I'd slept through it. The MCTS app showed the next bus would arrive in 30 minutes, but it was running 5 minutes late. Morning buses are always crowded, and so was this one, standing room only. I debated whether to call my boss and tell her I'd be late, or if I could sneak in and nobody would notice. Like a good little drone, I shot a simple text. Missed the bus, be there soon. Best to avoid trouble. I'd forgotten my lunch and hadn't had breakfast. It was going to be a lousy day. When I walked into the office, the first thing the receptionist said was, "What's wrong with your hair?" The mirror didn't just show bedhead, but every strand stood straight up. I looked like an 80s punk who lost a fight with a can of hairspray. If I jumped high enough, would I stick into the ceiling? At a meeting with my team, everybody tried not to giggle when they looked at me. One guy looked at me and asked, "Bust any light bulbs today?" I looked like I had been electrocuted. I grinned, endured, and moved on. It's going to be a weird day. I seldom go out for lunch. Too expensive. I didn't have a choice. Mama Bella's Italian bistro was within walking distance. Clear skies for once. The air had warmed up, so I left my hoodie at my desk. Chapter 3. The walk in fresh air was just what I needed. I guess today wasn't all bad. Boss hadn't complained about me not shaving. One of my coworkers said I looked bad boy. Mama Bella's was a popular lunchtime destination. Pale rose walls covered in black and white pictures of Italy and Italian stars from days gone by. Every table had a small vase with a yellow, bright red, or orange tulip. Red and white checkered tablecloths lay on every table. Only open at lunch. It was crowded by the time I arrived. Every table full. "Space is limited," the hostess quickly said. "Do you mind sharing a table?" She led me to an outdoor table directly in front. White plastic, a simple glass vase, a yellow tulip. The air smelled of garlic. Something sizzled in the nearby kitchen. The sky was the color of the waters off Mykonos. He wore an effortless light blue linen shirt, sunglasses that looked like they fell out of GQ, and had a dark stubble about his chin. A glass of something sparkling sat in front of him. My stomach clenched. 1,000 fantasies rushed through my brain, and I shut those down immediately. He was tearing a chunk of bread into pieces and gently fed a small dog lying on the ground. The dog lay beside an older man sitting at a nearby table. The dog angled its head and slurped up each piece. "Here you go," The waitress slid a plastic chair out and handed me a menu. The man looked up. Grazie, signora, for the outdoor table. I've been confined on a plane for 11 hours. The fresh air is wonderful. He sat up, nodded at the waitress, and noticed me. His eyes grabbed mine by the root and refused to let go. His cologne was subtle, crisp, smelled like sandalwood. Hope you don't mind if I sit here, I mumbled, breaking the connection long enough to take a seat. His smile was broad and genuine and immediate. Not at all, my friend. I'd be delighted for the company. My name is Dmitri. The voice was deep and warm, like butter melting in the sun. Setting the bread on the table, Dmitri leaned toward me like I was the most important person on the planet. I'm Hugh, I said, not knowing what to say, but feeling like I had to say something. He flashed that smile again, the one that melted my soul. Tell me, my friend, what is it like to see the world through those most extraordinary eyes? Chapter 4. Was he joking? Was this some kind of a prank? I glanced around, looking for a camera or one of my friends or something. Excuse me? I asked. He gently removed my glasses and brushed the hair aside. Tiny flecks of silver dancing. Your eyes remind me of bubbles in champagne. The more I stare into them, the more their mystery holds me. Was he flirting with me? Look at me. Yesterday's clothes. Seriously bad hair day, and I'm starving. It must be some kind of revenge for taking his table. I tried to smile. He pulled back a little. I must apologize. My forwardness makes American men uncomfortable. I am a little nervous because I have a critical presentation this afternoon. Allow me to make amends. Let me buy you a drink. A limoncello, perhaps? I have to go to work, so I can't drink, I mumbled. He smiled and waved. Server, 2 lemonades, please. And I was serious about your eyes. I relaxed a little. Nice line, Dmitri. Something you use at clubs or bars? You American men are so jaded. Let me help you believe. Give me one night. Perhaps Friday night? I thought for a moment, put my glasses back on, and quickly said, Mayday, mayday, mayday. The airplane is going down. I made an explosion noise. Boom. Left a small tip for the drink, and took off. Without lunch. Weird day. Chapter 5. It got weirder. I grabbed a Snickers and a lemonade vitamin water from the vending machine, gave up on my rumpled clothes, surrendered to the spiked hair, and lumped back to my team. A new client was offering a presentation today, and then we would respond with what we could do for them. I walked into the conference room with my boss and another drone, ready for the standard spin. The new client company was Anthropi Fashion and needed shipping services in the U.S., specifically from port locations to Milwaukee. I had Copilot give me a brief synopsis. A European clothing brand branching out to the Americas. Co-founders D. Parisi and S. Enzerio. Company based in Palermo, Sicily. They'd shown at Paris Fashion Week for the last 2 years, and critics claim their work could be the next Hermes. Their American office was in Milwaukee, of all places. Due to an incompatibility in business philosophies, Anthropi Fashion had recently reorganized under Parisi's sole direction. Enzerio had split off and launched his own line, Squisito. Milan, Paris, New York. Nothing says Italian fashion like Milwaukee. I let my boss read it. She nodded. Clothing usually goes through Port Newark. I'll pull some timelines. Rail or truck? I asked. Have both options ready, boss replied. This contract could be worth $3 million, so landing it is a priority. We need to check availability, I added. Trucks from Newark to Milwaukee can get expensive, but some clients prefer it. I'll check manifest and scheduling, the other drone replied, and left the room. A presence entered the room. The cologne was sandalwood. His shirt was light blue and wrinkle-free, tailored to his body. My heart stopped. It literally stopped. He wore a casual blazer, silvery gray. Greetings, my friends. I'm Dmitry Parisi, founder of Anthropi Fashion, and it is a pleasure to meet with you. His voice was deep and warm, and I'd heard it before. Olive skin, dark hair, my breath skipped. The man from lunch. My eyes met his. We recognized each other at the same time. My face burned. He half smiled. Hugh, it is a pleasure to see you again, he said, his voice warm, not a sarcastic note in it. I apologize for leaving a bad impression. All eyes turned to me, including his. They were the color of the oceans outside Mykonos. I fought the sudden excuse to run home and check my stove. The dumbest pickup line ran through my head. Did you turn your stove on this morning? Because you're sure making me hot. Chapter 6. What do my brain and Antarctica have in common? Temperatures so low that nothing works. Unless you are a penguin. I am not. My brain didn't just freeze, it went tundra. If you listened closely, you could hear the sub-zero wind whistling among my frozen brain cells. God, I hope I didn't drool. It made sense. Dmitry was grabbing something to eat before his presentation. He chose someplace close to his meeting location. He was a multi-million-dollar client working to hire our company. I chose someplace close for lunch. We met. He was polite. I thought he was hitting on me. My life is a train wreck. Our company wants his business. I'd made the explosion noise, made dive-bombing sound effects of a plane crashing and burning. Crap, everybody was still looking at me. My mouth was open. Had I single-handedly just cost Universal Shipping a huge contract? Brain still frozen, I somehow got my mouth to work. You're the client? I am, Dmitry said, his tone warm, but his smile vanished. I have a shipping container in Newark. Once it passes customs, it needs to come here. It will be a recurring monthly transfer, and if business grows, could become weekly. Perhaps Universal Shipping is not the right fit. My boss kicked me under the table. Do I apologize for before? Do I pretend nothing happened? Was this the most embarrassing thing that had ever happened to me? My heart pattered. My lungs took shallow breaths. My stomach clenched. I forced my mind to work. How do I salvage this? Hugh, I told myself, you seriously screwed up. Dmitry, I said, hands growing as cold as my brain. We own the trucks and have access to trains. We are the right company. Depending on the price range, we can ship either by train or, if you need it quicker, then by truck. However, trucking has a higher bill. He nodded. Something sad glinted behind his eyes, but was immediately gone. I brought out my professional mask from out of the closet, and though I didn't smile, I proceeded with the presentation. Every so often I kept thinking about champagne bubbles. 15 minutes later, when the spiel was done, Dmitry, with the beautiful eyes the color of the oceans off the coast of Mykonos, leaned back in his chair and said, I'll present this to my board, and if they agree, we'll schedule a meeting to work logistics. After he left, I gathered my materials and slumped to my cubicle. My boss walked with me. Not your best presentation. Do you think he'll back out? After a presentation like that, You're not even worth your salary. Chapter 7. After I returned to my apartment, I stripped for a shower. I still had bad hair, and my eyes had circles under them the size of Detroit. Not my best presentation, not my best work. What had Dmitri seen in my eyes? I took my glasses off and leaned in for a closer look. My eyes were alight. They'd been called sky blue, topaz, even pale. Never champagne, until today. I leaned in until my nose touched the mirror. Little tiny minuscule flecks of silver. I'd blown it today. Lunch wasn't a casual accidental meetup or some guy hitting on me. It had been a job interview, and I had failed. I microwaved a couple of green chili pork burritos, poured salsa and cheese over them, and sat down to watch some random show on Prime on the gray couch I had inherited from my grandparents. Randall emerged from his room, wearing a stained t-shirt and gray sweatpants that had once been blue. "What's got you so down?" he asked, as he put a pot on to boil. He liked making ramen on the stove, less chance of the cup leaking. "I fumbled bad today," I said, "and lost Universal Shipping a $3 million contract." While he waited for the water, Randall took the chair opposite me. "I've never had a day that bad. You gonna get fired?" "I hope not," I said, and then explained the whole disaster of a day, including me thinking Dmitri hit on me rather than just being friendly. "You seriously made sound effects?" Randall chuckled. I winced. "Big explosions and dive-bombing noises. What can I do?" "Grovel," Randall replied, only half joking, I think. "How? I'm just boring. Besides, I might never see him again." "Then give him a reason. Show him there's more in the package than what there seems." "Like what?" I asked. "Gaming example. True story." Randall leaned back and got comfortable. "There's a PvP zone, player versus player, in Stiller Drift. Went into it with all my gear. Spotted a player. Wimpiest get-up I've ever seen. Hardly any armor, weird face tattoos, and they used a sword. Figured I could take them. Easy. Got my butt kicked in 30 seconds. To keep from losing any items, I ran, squealing like a lost puppy." "And what has this to do with now?" "Appearances, dude. One look at you and everybody sees an easy fight." "This isn't a game. It's my life I'm screwing up," I said. "If it was a date, I'd do flowers and chocolates. Since it's business, you'll have to think outside the heart-shaped box." I hugged a pillow and leaned forward. "Dmitri is Italian, producing fashion in Palermo, Sicily, and trying to ship clothes from their arrival at Port Newark to Milwaukee." "Makes sense," Randall said. "Chicago is only 90 miles away and lets him set up shop at his pace, maybe even do mail order or Amazon. Smart guy." "And I ruined it," I said. "Not yet," Randall said, leaning forward. "Time to pull a power move. Show him you've done your homework and call him. Do you have his number?" "It's with his contract information on my work account." It took 30 minutes sifting through schedules and pricing, but I had a proposal. A real proposal. Accessing my work account, I found Dimitri's number. I swallowed hard, breathed out, and dialed. It rang 3 times. "Pronto," Dmitri said in his warm, deep voice. "Hi, it's me." "Ciao, my friend. Since your number is American, you might need to be more specific as to who you are, unless you want me to guess." My mind went completely blank. I was rude today and I wanted to apologize, and I ran some numbers to say I'm sorry, and I can make a proposal if you'd like to listen, because we really do want to serve you and think that maybe we can offer some affordable options. A moment of silence on the other end. Randall peeked out from the kitchen and mouthed, "Sweeten the deal." "Hugh," Dmitri said. "The man from earlier today." How do you sweeten a business deal? My mind raced. Flowers? Too much. Chocolate? Don't have any. New car? Don't have the money. Wait. Businesses always take new clients out to dinner. Why don't we talk about it over dinner? Randall rolled his eyes, whispering, "God, Hugh, you are completely useless." There was a pause, a long one, the kind that stretched out so far I could count my pulse in my ears. Randall froze, mid-slurp, eyes wide, like he was watching a nature documentary where the gazelle had just wandered directly into the lion's mouth. On the other end of the line, Dmitri finally exhaled, a soft laugh, not mocking, surprised, warm, curious. "Dinner," he repeated, tasting the word like it was a new fabric sample. "You wished to discuss shipping logistics? Over dinner?" My soul left my body. "I mean, yes, if you want, or lunch, or coffee, or a Zoom call, or a carrier pigeon, whatever is normal. I wanted to fix things." Another moment, another quiet moment. Then, "Hugh," he said gently, "you do not need to fix anything. You were not rude, you were startled." His voice softened even more. "And I enjoyed our conversation today. Both of them." My heart did something illegal. Randall silently mouthed, "Oh my God." Dmitri continued, "But dinner sounds pleasant. I accept." I blinked at the wall. "You do?" "Yes," he said, amused. "Unless you are rescinding the offer?" No rescinding. Zero rescinding. Full sending." Randall facepalmed. Dmitri chuckled again. "Very well. Tomorrow evening. I will text you a place. Something quiet. We can talk business. And perhaps other things." My brain blue-screened. "Okay." "Buena notte, Hugh." "Good night," I whispered, even though it was barely 7. The call ended. I stared at my phone like it had personally betrayed me. Randall burst out laughing. "Dude, you just asked a millionaire, Italian fashion mogul, on a date." "It's not a date?" I said weakly. "Sure," he said, heading back to his ramen. "And I'm the Pope." Chapter 8. I spent all day putting together a PowerPoint, researching timetables, costs, even shipping options from Palermo. I went all out, special flights for rush orders, tax breakdowns, both international and local, and anything to make this presentation zing. At home, I dressed like I was going to a wedding. Black suit, hair hammered down with gel, polished glasses, gray tie. Should I wear cologne? I had this old one my father gave me. One look in the mirror, one forced smile, one flicker of pretend confidence, and I sighed. Geek. Give me a pocket protector and I'd look exactly like what I was. A $65,000 a year wage drone who thrived on boring. Still, my eyes, according to Dmitri, were my best feature. I took off my glasses. Blurry image. Who am I kidding? If I stood any chance tonight, it would be because of the presentation. Not my looks, not my personality, only my skills. It wouldn't be enough, but I had to try. I grabbed my laptop and charger, packed my worn briefcase, and took a lift to the meeting. The air had grown cool, but I was too rushed to grab my hoodie. I arrived 5 minutes early. The Cheddar Bistro and Microbrewery used to be a dance studio. Golden wooden floors, mirrors across one wall, now dim Tiffany lamps casting multicolored stained glass shadows. Large polished copper vats lined the far side. They were known for their custom ales. Dmitri hadn't arrived. My phone buzzed. A waiter ushered me to a booth with a plug, and I set up my laptop. My phone buzzed again. Dmitri texted, "Running 10 minutes late, had to pick up something." I ordered a winter ale, made sure everything was ready, and eyed the door. At precisely 10 minutes late, Dmitri entered. Wine-colored shirt with long sleeves, a black silk tie, hair trimmed to fashion perfect, and his slacks hugged him like a lover. What was I doing here? I didn't have a chance. What had Randall called him? A millionaire fashion mogul? I breathed in. Dmitri was so far out of my league that we weren't in the same solar system. I swallowed. Hard. He carried a slim box wrapped in royal blue paper, no bow. With a jaunty smile, he approached. I wanted to hide under the table, me and my frumpy shirt and my boring glasses. "I'm glad you invited me tonight," he said. That deep, rich voice, the eyes the color of the water off the Mykonos coast. I'm no good at small talk, so I dove into professional talk. I brought the new update with all the new and updated facts. He smiled, a genuine one. "Thank you for keeping updated. I've brought you something as well." Dmitri sat down. The waiter approached and set down warm ciabatta with rosemary oil and aged balsamic vinegar. I looked at the menu. Here goes a week's pay on one meal. "I know you said you'd buy, but allow me to smooth over any difficulties." And Dmitri laid a Platinum Express on the table. "May I order for the both of us?" The waiter's eyes widened for a second. So did mine. I nodded. "A bottle of Brunello di Montalcino, please." Dimitri's smooth velvet tones hypnotized me. 16-ounce medium-rare bone-in prime rib with a red wine veal reduction for each of us, along with a side of garlic roasted broccolini and Parmesan polenta. After the waiter had left, I mumbled, "Thank you." "You can buy next time," Dmitri replied. "Why don't we start with your proposal?" Dmitri had thrown hundreds into this meal. I better make this good. "Thank you for giving me a second chance," I started, and launched into all the information I had. Timetables, shipping tables, ways to save money, ways to save time, options starting in Palermo, options starting in Newark, and ways to streamline the process and future operations. When I was done, Dmitri pursed his lips and flipped through the screens, analyzing pricing and numbers. "While you're changing, I'll look these over." He handed me the slim box. "What is this?" I asked. "A sample of what I produce. To understand what you're shipping, you need to wear the product." Chapter 9. I turned the box over in my hands. Royal blue paper, crisp edges, the kind of wrapping that said it had been done by someone who cared about presentation. Someone who didn't rush. Someone like Dmitri. My fingers felt clumsy as I peeled the paper back. Inside was a matte black box with his company's logo embossed in silver. I lifted the lid. A shirt lay inside. Not just any shirt. Soft as breath, a deep charcoal with a subtle sheen. The kind of fabric that whispered money without shouting it. I brushed my thumb across the collar and felt the quality immediately. This wasn't off the rack. This was tailored. For me. My throat tightened. "Dmitri, I can't." "You can," he said, not unkindly. "And you will. Try it on." I here?" My voice cracked like a teenager's. He nodded toward the hallway near the restrooms. "There's a mirror. Take your time." I stood, box in hand, feeling like every eye in the restaurant was on me. They weren't, of course. No one cared. But Dimitri's gaze followed me, warm, steady, expectant. In the restroom, I slipped off my frumpy shirt and pulled on the one he'd given me. It slid over my shoulders like it had been waiting for me. The fabric draped just right. The sleeves hugged my arms without squeezing. The collar framed my neck instead of swallowing it. I stared at myself. I stared at me as I'd never looked before. The dark charcoal of the shirt brought out my eyes. The custom lines slimmed my waist, subtly broadened my shoulders. The gentle warmth in the shirt made my skin seem fractionally warmer. I stood a little taller and took my glasses off. That was me. I looked important. Taking my tie, I looped it around my neck. A special shirt deserves a special tie. Well, this is all I got. The boring tie I knotted with an eldritch knot. Sophisticated, elegant. "Look at you, love," a man said, standing to my side. He had a pouch slung on his shoulder with a small Yorkshire Terrier peeking out. "You are yummy, my friend. This is Bentley. Let us help with the hair." It took him 30 seconds. My hair became relaxed, playful, and I bit my lip. Before I could say thanks, he disappeared. I didn't look like a $65,000 a year wage drone. I didn't look like a geek with a pocket protector. I looked good, presentable, professional. Maybe even don't blame me, but I kind of looked attractive. Heat flushed to my cheeks. The shirt made my tie look incredible. It made me look something I've never felt. Sexy. I swallowed hard and walked back to the table, old shirt tucked into the box. Dmitri looked up from my laptop, and for the first time since I'd met him, his expression faltered just a fraction. A softening around his eyes, a slow, appreciative sweep from my shoulders to my waist. "Wow," he said quietly, getting out of his chair. He walked toward me, placing a very chaste kiss on my cheek. "That is how you should look when you represent my company." My heart thudded against my ribs, a quiet heat spreading through me in a way I couldn't hide. I sat down, trying not to combust. He closed the laptop gently, fingertips lingering on the lid as if sealing something private inside. My phone lay beside it. "Forgive me," he said, with a voice smooth as the Brunello he'd ordered. "Someone named Randall called. I didn't mean to pry, but your phone was face up." My stomach dropped. "Oh, he's my—" "And," Dmitri continued, eyes lifting to mine with a glint I couldn't read. I couldn't help noticing the background either. "I've been to Mykonos." Heat crawled up my neck. I'd forgotten the lock screen, the photo, the one place I let myself dream. His phone rang. He glanced at the screen. I caught the name. Salvatore? A muscle in his jaw tightened, barely, and with 2 quick swipes he blocked the call. A subject with an unpleasant taste. Then, as if brushing away a shadow, Dimitri's smile returned, soft and almost curious. "Let's talk about Mykonos," he said. "And more importantly, let's talk about the man with the champagne eyes." Chapter 10. The day after the presentation, my boss called me into her office. A folding table with a computer on it, walls cluttered with shipping tables, and 2 cups of half-drunk stale coffee. She closed the door before sitting down. The other office drones glanced through the windows to see what was happening to me. My stomach hunched into a small ball. "Hugh," she began, "what did you do?" She gestured to a chair, and I quickly sat. Her eyes narrowed at the burgundy silk tie I only wore on special occasions, the eldritch knot holding the tie in place, at the cream long-sleeve button-down. I'd found my old contacts, and the prescription was still good. My stomach wound tighter. "Is something wrong?" The brutal hum of the fluorescent lights echoed the anxiety, stiffening my limbs. "Your presentation yesterday sucked," she responded. I nodded. "I'm really sorry about that. I know what I did wrong, and I've adjusted the PowerPoint with some pertinent details." My boss frowned. Actually, frowned. She sat down. "I've just gotten off the phone with Dimitri Parisi, owner of Anthropi Fashions." I slid forward. Last night's presentation still hadn't been good enough? I'd left something out. What? Were my timetables wrong? Had the Port Authority changed fees without telling us? Recent fuel prices must have altered trucking costs. With the distance they had to travel, it could mean thousands of dollars. I hadn't taken that into consideration. My hands went cold. Was I being put on probation for costing the company money? Maybe even losing the contract? What would Randall say? Time to grovel. "I met with Dimitri last night with an updated proposal. I know I should have gotten permission. I wasn't thinking. I'm sorry. Is he backing out? I was only trying to fix things." My boss nodded. She looked at the half-full mugs of stale coffee, chose one, and sipped it. "That explains it." I gulped. "You must have pulled out all your tricks, because he is coming over in an hour to sign the contracts, and he has requested you to be his official liaison. Won't accept anyone else." I said the most profound thing I've ever said in my life. "Huh?" "To be honest, I didn't think you had it in you," my boss said. "No drive, no ambition. Looks like a clone from accounting, and you single-handedly pulled off a $3 million contract." When Dimitri arrived to sign contracts, his eyes sought me out. "Thank you," he said. "It's my turn to take you out," I smiled. "So we can talk logistics," he said, also smiling. "Tonight," blurted out of my mouth. He blessed me with that warm voice I'd fallen in love with. I'd be delighted. "Have you ever tried Mexican?" I asked. His eyebrows lifted, a small, surprised arc. "No, they're rare in Sicily, and the few that exist are more Italian Mexican than authentically Mexican." "I have the place," I said, feeling a spark of boldness I didn't recognize in myself. "Las Gardenias Mexican Cuisine." A corner of his mouth curved, slow and intrigued. "You're choosing the restaurant now?" "Someone has to introduce you to the good stuff." He leaned back slightly, studying me with that warm, assessing gaze that made my pulse misbehave. Then I looked forward to being educated. Chapter 11. That afternoon, I had every single piece of dress clothing laid out across my bed, the couch, the chairs, even atop Randall's clutter. "What will I wear?" I moaned. Randall, headset on, was making a pot of Spam and cheesy noodles in the kitchen. "Does it matter?" "He's a fashion guru." "So?" Randall said, dicing the Spam. "He accepted you in ordinary clothes. So what?" "But I'm his liaison now. I have to look the part." Randall turned the burner off. "Don't you get it? He likes you for you, not because of some costume. Your presentation impressed him. Your skills sold the deal. You proved you were real. Don't let the clothes tell you otherwise." "What would you wear?" I asked. Randall looked through my clothes and made a call. 30 minutes later, his girlfriend showed up and dressed me. Don't worry, I had to do the same for my brother. Randall loaned me the nicest tie I'd ever seen, one with the Hermes logo on the back. "Cinderella is ready to meet his Prince Charming," she said, giggling. As I was leaving, I heard Randall whisper, "Looks like we have the dump to ourselves." Chapter 12. I arrived at Las Gardenias on time. Demetria was not there. The hostess ushered me to a corner booth and brought chips and salsa. By quarter after, Demetria had not called or texted. I'd eaten all the chips and scraped the last of the salsa from the bowl. Maybe I'd gotten the time wrong? I gave it 5 more minutes, then sent a text. "I'm here." No response. Had he gotten in an accident? Traffic trouble? He would have texted. I ordered a tequila and rum margarita and waited. The waitress asked if I was ready to order. I shook my head. At 30 minutes, I sent another text. The waitress stopped by again, refilled the chips and salsa, made small talk, then drifted to the next table. At 60 minutes, the realization hit. I was ghosted. Dimitri had gotten the shipping contract and didn't need me anymore. It had all been about business, and I was foolish enough to think romance. When will I learn? No one is interested in me, for me. He needed help with shipping. I provided it. End of story. Dimitri needed someone on his level. I looked at the nice shirt, the expensive tie, and caught a glimpse of myself in the reflection on the glass. A kid playing dress-up in grown-up clothes. I called an Uber and went home. The streets blurred. The lights sped past. The pain became numb. Chapter 13. The alarm woke me. Must have been the alcohol because I slept like a dream. The chilled floor reminded me about last night. The best way to deal with a brush-off is cinnamon rolls. I dressed, noting that Randall's girlfriend's purse and jacket were still on the couch. I snuck out and stopped by Aggie's Bakery and Cake Shop for a half-dozen cinnamon rolls before taking the MCTS to Milwaukee. I ate 3, shared the rest, and dove into a different account. Not fashion-related. A truckload of Red Bull. Logistics for them are different. We deliver to a central location. Then it's divided and sent to a lot of smaller locations, and then to individual distributors. Complex, yet predictable. About noon, my boss entered her office and closed the door to take a call. She did that all the time, but this time, when she glanced at me, it made me anxious. She frowned, still staring in my direction before turning away. Picking up a pen, she chewed on the cap before writing something. I distinctly made out the words, "I understand." A cold shiver ran up my spine, and not because we were in Wisconsin. I grabbed one of the remaining cinnamon rolls, letting the scent of cream cheese frosting comfort me before biting into the cinnamon softness. A text appeared from Dad, a reminder about the dinner Saturday. I sent a thumbs up emoji. "Hugh," my boss called, "my office, now." One of the drones whispered, "Twice in 1 week." I had barely entered when boss said, "Close the door." I did, and sat. "Where is your passport?" "Sorry, what do you mean?" "Is your passport current?" "Yes, it's back in my apartment. Why?" She sighed. "Mr. Parisi has to fly out to Sicily immediately. and he requested you to accompany him. He needs an American shipping liaison back for business in Palermo. He's requested you." "That's who you were on the phone with?" "That must have been some presentation you gave." She nodded. "Flight leaves this afternoon. He's sending a car." "What do you mean?" "A nobody wage drone, and he asked for you, personally." Chapter 14. I checked my phone. One call with voicemail. From Dmitri. I sat at my desk, stomach twisting. This man had ghosted me last night. The anger settled in my heart. Nothing he could say would explain it away. I dialed, my hand clenching the phone. "Pronto, Hugh. It's been a very rough night." His warm voice broke. The anger didn't go away, but it shifted to the background. "Are you okay?" I asked. "Salvatore must have planned this for when I was out of the country. He poached half my staff. I've been on the phone to Palermo all night trying to salvage what I can. He's trying to destroy my company. I have to fly back to Sicily to fix this, but I can't do it alone. I need help." "Is this why you stood me up last night?" A weary sigh came through the phone. "It is. Milwaukee is 7 hours behind Sicily. While you were at dinner, it was the middle of night for me. I spent those hours on the phone with lawyers, family, staff, anyone who could help me keep my company from collapsing. I need to be there in person, which means I have to leave this afternoon, and I don't want to go alone. I need someone who can handle shipping and logistics. I want you to coordinate." "But I don't speak Italian." I could hear his smile. "You speak me. That is enough." Epilogue. We spent the entire flight talking about his company, its history, his dreams, his hopes. Somewhere over the Atlantic, I stopped seeing Dmitri as just a man and started seeing him as a person, a vulnerable person who had just been betrayed by someone he once trusted. He and Salvatore had been more than business partners. They'd been close once, until their philosophies split them apart, and the bond snapped under the strain. Dmitri needed help pulling his company back together, and for some reason, he saw me as the person who could do it. What had he seen in that presentation that no one else saw, not even me? After we landed in Palermo, Dmitri made a quick call. In the middle of it, he glanced at me and said something in Italian. My phone translated it a moment later. "I'll be all right, Papa. The man I told you about, Hugh, he's with me. He's worth 10 Salvatore, maybe more." I'm going to have to write a sequel for this one, because what started as a simple story turned out not to be a simple story. And we took a detour to Palermo. So, next week, we're off to Palermo. Thank you, everybody, for joining me and Bentley. By the way, in case you heard all the little noises earlier, Bentley's teething. He was chewing on stuff. Anyway, I love you all. Peace, my friends. Until next week.